Almost ready?
You need this?
Soon. You might say last night was not a good night. In fact, it was a really shitty night. We had the crap scared out of us, literally, and let's just say it was a bad night that ended well, finally. But it was pretty nerve-wracking. This little monster up here scared the crap out of us. Hey, Tiki. We had Tiki down below hanging out with us because it was raining, so we always bring her down and put her on her inside perch. And she had hopped down and was climbing around the floor and just wandering around, having a good old time while I was working and Brendan was working on his machine. And I finished up what I was doing and went to look for Tiki, and she wasn't there. I couldn't find her. She wasn't under my seat where she normally was. We looked around the floor. She was just gone. We searched the cabins, got the girls out. Everybody started searching the boat. Thought maybe she climbed out through the forward hatch because it was open a little bit like normal, but she never actually tries to climb out of it. And we couldn't find her. And we panicked, like, oh my God, she must have got off the boat. She must have come up through the hatch or something, gone on deck, gust of wind or rain squall or something spooked her, and she flew or fell into the water. Sasha and I were out in the dinghy with spotlights for almost an hour, going from boat to boat to boat in the anchorage, but it was pitch black, there was no moon, and we were just wandering around, basically felt like aimlessly, trying to find this little needle in a haystack, wondering if she'd fallen in the water and flapping around, or if she was clung to the side of a boat, or maybe crawled up somebody's deck. We checked our rigging up the top of the mast, everything, and nothing. So we came back to the boat and basically thought we're done. There's nothing we could do. It was nighttime and we couldn't do anything until the next day when maybe we could go out and see if she was around again somewhere. But it felt like, you know, we had no choice but to give up, and Tiki was gone and no idea if we were going to see her again. So that was not a nice feeling. And yeah, we had Alice and Aubrey and Brendan were still here. They were still looking around on the boat. And we were getting ready for bed, basically having given up for the night. And damned if Alice didn't just go at these chairs here. Even Brendan said, I have to feel like she's still somewhere on the boat. And I felt like I agreed, but we had searched everywhere and couldn't find anything. And then it turned out it was just these two chairs. They always have towels on because it's been raining constantly, so we've been drying the towels off on the chairs. And underneath this one, there was a pair of shorts curled up there, and nobody thought anything of that. It was very small, but Alice finally picked this up, I guess, and noticed that the shorts moved. Tiki was just sitting right up in there, hunched right up on this little metal bar up against the top, and we couldn't see her. Her top was right up against there, so it was impossible to see her because I'd even looked down there also, but man, what a relief when we found her. So let's just say that was a bad night that turned good, had a good ending, so we were all very happy about that. It was not a good feeling to think that our little mascot on board, our best little buddy, was not going to be with us anymore. Right, Tiki? Yeah, that was no fun. But anyway, we are still here in Beckway. We've been here the last couple days. As you've seen, it's been raining like crazy, and now the sun has come out, finally. We've got some blue skies, sunshine, and a nice little bit of breeze. So breeze just out of the south of east, and we're looking around that point there, and St. Vincent is across the way. So we're gonna head back to St. Vincent today in the hopes that the weather holds and that we can get our next videos done to finish up the job we were doing with the national properties up there. So hopefully we're going to get that done in the next couple of days, and then we'll be on our way and hit the Tobago Keys and continue on with some more training and fun exercises and everything with everybody on board. It's a short distance, but it's a nice breeze today, so I think we're going to unpack the mainsail, get it ready, and have a nice sail back to the Blue Lagoon. Okay, so we need to hoist the mainsail. So I'm going to bring us upwind alongside this ship here. You're right on course right now. Yeah, hold her on course right there. Yeah, you got good tension there. Not overly tight, but just enough to bend still. shape of the sail looks good. There's no ripples in the luff. So we don't want any ripples in the luff. We just need the main sheet tensioned up a little bit, and then we'll come off the wind. Okay, so I'm going to keep a couple of wraps on the furler because we're going to have a lot of wind when we come around this hill, so I don't want to have to pull the sail out just in case. So you can start tensioning that in. I've still got 2 wraps. It's kind of like half a reef. And that's just so that we don't get overloaded with wind as we come out from behind this windshield of the hill. Once we get out there, if there's good wind and we want to let more out, we can do that easily just by letting the line out. But if it's too much and we try to haul it in, it's just going to flog the sail and cause damage. So there's no point in letting it all out until we actually know how much wind we're dealing with. So I'm just going to cleat that off, tension it now, and then that should take up the tension from the other side. Okay, what you need to do is just feel the boat. So these 2 here are top dead center, okay? These 2 right here. So that's when the wheel's at the center. You just gotta feel it. You can see the jib is luffing a little bit, right? So bring it back to port, just a little. Now feel the boat. Feel it heeling over. When the boat starts to heel over like that a little bit more, the wind is catching the sails. Now there's no luff. Now we're in trim. So don't keep holding it against it. Bring it back up, hold it level, and just feel the boat. If the boat starts to heel over more, bring it back up to starboard to take some wind out of the sails. And if you're too far upright and you see a little bit, see the little ripple in the jib, you're too high on the wind, you're too far upwind, just by a little bit. So that's when you want to bring it back just a little bit to port or off wind. And there, you feel it, it grabs, you feel the heel over again. You can feel it in the boat. You don't have to see the sails, you don't have to see anything. If you just learn to feel the boat and feel the wheel, eventually you'll recognize when the wind is on proper and the sails are trimmed. And if it's really trying to pull, like if it's really trying to pull you upwind, then you're too far off the wind or you've got too much trim on your mainsail. So if the mainsail is too tight, you need to let the main sheet out a little bit, and that will bring the boat back upright. Pointed at the coast, the point of St. Vincent. That's kind of our target right now. You can start to feel we're getting clean air because we're missing the island now. We're getting around the island. So that means we're getting onto our wind that's going to be consistent for the rest of the trip. Yep. And we're pointed right at the point, like right at the end of St. Vincent. And you can see we're just on the edge of the limit for the wind because the jib is just starting to luff a little bit. You see the curls in the luff there a little bit? So watch this with me. We're going to bring it back to port just a little bit. Just slow. Watch it. Feel the boat. Feel the boat. There, you feel it starting to heel over more now? Now you bring it back to starboard a little bit. Hold it there. That's your perfect wind right there. The jib is full. There's no ripples in it. If we went out and looked at it right now, both of the telltales would be flying perfectly. And we don't even need to see them. We can feel it in the boat. Okay, so you want us to pull in stern to, fenders and lines on port side, and our bow will be pointing towards Kelly's boat, and the stern will be facing the office.
That's correct. All the same. That's what we're doing. But come on in.
Okay, we'll be set up and on our way in about 5 minutes. Should be okay. Take it up as far as it'll go. That way it'll stay out of our way on the bow when we... Just to itself. Just like that. That way it'll tighten Got it. Okay, so I found the problem with the autopilot. Just finishing taking it apart here. Okay. So the problem is we had one of the mounts break. You might remember about a year or so ago we put in a brand new autopilot, put in a new mount for the RAM, and the mount we replaced was the old wooden one I told you the story about out in the ocean a long time ago, and we put it in a new one with starboard that I made when we were back in St. Martin. One of the bolts apparently on the mount has come loose. So as you can see, it came loose and allowed the mount to swivel out of position. And when that happened, the pivot that the actual autopilot, this is what the autopilot attaches to. It attaches to the quadrant. And this is the bolt that goes through the quadrant, well, like that. It hangs through the quadrant like this, and the autopilot arm comes up on there, and that's what pushes this thing back and forth. But there was so much torsion on its side load because this bolt was bent in the loop. The mount was loose that it actually overexerted and snapped the pin right in half. So we had a problem in trying to find this pin. I was extremely lucky. I just went down the road to, we're in Blue Lagoon again at the Blue Lagoon Marina, and just across the next dock is Barefoot Yacht Charter, and the guy who I guess manages that, Steve, he was a godsend. He looked at it and says, you know what, I think I've got one of these somewhere. Because I was just going around with a big bolt trying to figure out, you know, I was never going to find this part, I knew that, so I was just going to improvise something with a bolt just to get us back and running. But he come out and he had this one, brand new, sitting in a box. Said, you know what, I've had this sitting here for years, nobody's ever needed it. I gave him the bolts that I was going to improvise. He took them in trade and said, thanks very much. And I said, thanks very much, like holy cow. Got the exact pin I was looking for, I can't even believe it. And this one's actually better, it's going to be a little bit more robust with the larger flange there, which is perfect. So I just tested, I just wanted to go in, I took out the old one and made sure this one was going to fit in, and it's going to be perfect. So we're going to go ahead, put that all together again and remount the starboard mount. I'm going to get rid of this bolt this time, because the problem was I didn't have self-locking nuts for this thread, so I put it on with washers and lock washers, and the lock washer should have held, but obviously it didn't. The whole thing loosened off, it came down too far and allowed the whole board to swivel, and that's what caused the problem. So we're getting rid of that, and this time I'm putting on a hex nut with a shank on it, so that's going to be much sturdier to begin with, and a nylon self-locking nut. So the nylon self-locking nut will keep it there in position no matter what, and that'll be much stronger than what was there, so we're going to replace those at the same time. Put the new pin back in, hook up the autopilot, and we should be good for another, hopefully, 10, 15, 20 years. Let's hope. Okay, so this is the autopilot installed again, and just testing the arm and make sure the pivot is free and not hitting or rubbing on anything. And so far that looks good. You can see back there's our rudder reference transducer. It moves with the quadrant at the same time. Everything's good there. And no interference on the arm. So with any luck, that's going to keep us sailing for another 10 years or more. Let's hope. Okay, so now it's time for the real world test. Now we're going to test the autopilot at the display here and make sure it's actually controlling the wheels, and you know, everything we know is connected down below and working properly. So we're going to look to the autopilot display here and push auto, and then get out of the way of the wheel. And the wheel is turning. So let's give it a plus 10, plus 20, plus 30.
Yeah, we're just gonna go for a little hike.
And looks like it's working so far. Back to minus 30. And steering back to port. Alright. We're good. Autopilot working again. How you feeling over there? Yeah, how you feeling?
Almost finished.
Somebody got a cold. Everybody's thinking, how do you catch a cold in the Caribbean? Yeah, hard to say, but chilly down here is not what you call chilly up here, or up there, but we're used to like 90 to 94 degrees, and now it's down to like 82 to 84, so yeah, you could say it's a little bit chilly. Everybody's catching colds, everybody's blowing their nose and sneezing on the boat, it's crazy. But anyway, that brings to an end today's project. So it's a little bit late now, it's almost 4 o'clock I think, so we're not going to pull out today. We were going to head up the coast and go up to Wally Laboo and finish up our job at Mount Wynn, but we're going to do that tomorrow. We're going to pull out first thing in the morning bright and early and get up there. We'll be up before noon and start from then, so we'll see you in the morning. Testing some new shades. What do you think? My style? Not my style.